Okay, diving straight in. Let's be the tallest we can be. Stretch. Now, if this hurts your shoulders, we can take the arms slightly in front of the body, and it still gives us that kind of traction to lengthen the spine. And take the hips side to side. If the arms can stretch, you can climb, taking the arms, right, that stretch into the fingers. Well, then we're going to take a pendulum more focus side to side movement, again with the arms slightly in front of the body if that's more comfortable for your shoulders. Otherwise, reaching overhead, stretching side to side while the feet grip the floor, squeeze your glutes. See if you can breathe in center and breathe out so we have that corset muscle support around the body as we take the side bend. We stretch. We should be able to gain a good centimeter just from reaching up. Couple more rounds. Firing up the thighs, feeling the kneecaps coming up into the thighs. Pressing into the outline of the feet. And then let's take a nice gentle circling movement, thinking about just the head and the shoulders. Kind of a spiraling movement, so I'm taking the head forward, side, slightly back, so it's only the upper back we're working with initially. Like a bit of spaghetti, we're just spiraling around the base of the spine. And let's take that circle in the other direction. As slowly as you like, because particularly if you've got tightness in the neck or shoulders, you want to give all the muscles time to soften, lengthen, relax, wake up. Last time in this direction. Lovely. All right, arms overhead, nice deep stretch. As you breathe out, drop the head to the left. Right arm stretches all the way out to the right wall. With the head in its furthest position, slowly drop this left arm and take hold of the elbow. Just allow a little bit more softening and length on this right side of the neck. Breathe, and then let's take it to the other side. Slowly lifting the head. Reach up, breathe out, head leans to the right. Left arm reaches far out, so pulling the humeral head right out of the shoulder joint. And then following all the way through to add any extra little pull that you might feel you can go. Soft jaw, slowly, carefully lifting the head, rolling the shoulders forwards, up, turn the palms, shoulders back and down, twice more. Next time, chin to chest, soften the knees, involving more and more of the body each time. Big bend in the knees for the last time, stretching the back of the body, standing tall, shoulders right up to the ears, arms open wide, wide wingspan, and the arms back and down. Shrug out the shoulders, we're wringing out the arms. Take the arms wide, take the shoulders forwards, rounding, and then opening. Try to avoid sticking the bottom out. See if you can hold that long enough to draw those front ribs back together, tummy bottom back to the spine. Still gripping the floor with the feet. Glutes strong, wringing forwards and backwards. Twice more. And then we're going to take the arms in opposite directions. So this will mean rolling one shoulder forward, the other one up, and then the other way. As you internally rotate, take the arms slightly behind the body because we're going to take this kind of stretching movement. Okay, so we're going to drop the head in the same direction as the upturned palm. So dropping the head and really stretching wide apart. Again, soft jaw. This could be quite a deep stretch on your neck if you're holding tension there. So nice, gentle flow, stretching. It's a bit of an Egyptian walk. Just slow, controlled, and relaxing, releasing. Once more, each side, or even yourself out. And then soften, shrug out. Legs nice and wide. We're coming to as deep a squat as you feel you can go. And then we're dropping the head and we're straightening the legs. we'll roll up through the spine slowly, and we'll take that again. So we're warming up the backs of the legs, inner thighs, coming into that squat sort of position, and then into the backs of the legs, mobilizing the spine by rolling up one vertebra at a time. Stick with this a couple of times. Inner thigh stretch, knees open wide, and stretch, pressing the feet into the floor, engaging the core to roll up through the spine. Give me one last one of these. Great, great, great. Maybe a little bit of a side to side squat here before we straighten up, roll up through the spine. Enjoy this nice slow little bit here, because we're going to work a little bit more vigorously now into the core. All right, let's take the feet in a little bit. Have that Yoga Ganesh grip of the fingers, shoulders back and down. Before we start, just try lifting one knee up at a time. And then we're going to do, we have done it before, that twist, twist, knee lift. And now start to visualize these core muscles reeling the thigh up. With the out breath, knee comes up. So we'll breathe in, twist, twist, and then breathe out for the knee out, the knee up. So we'll take a softening in the knees, and we twist, twist, and knee up. Breathe in, exhale. So nice, gentle movement in the spine, but with that grip of the hands, just gives us a little bit more scope to twist, tone the spine, the muscles of the waist. So see if we can get the knee nice and high, get that twist. If you can go right to the end of that exhalation, breathing out. We've got this grip so you can pull the chest round. A few more times. So we're trying to get the shoulders down, nice long spine. Every time we take that knee into a lift, we're standing tall, twisting, shoulders down, neck long. So let's again think about that tech neck, so the head's not forwards, but maintain that plumb line, stacking, vertical stacking through the body, from the base of the spine up through the crown of the head. Last couple now, we're going to take a similar sort of movement, but from a goddess position and a knee lift with a slightly more externally rotated position. So let's take the arms overhead. Remember, if it's more comfortable for the shoulders, the arms slightly more in front of the head. So breathe in, tall bend. Now as we breathe out, we're taking these cactus arms, elbow to knee. We'll alternate to each side. So stand tall, elbow to knee. Breathe in, squat, breathe out. In and out. If the breathing doesn't match, don't worry. Just the fact that you're having to concentrate and think about it. We're in the moment. So let's just think about now the shoulder blades. If we think about them being flat against a wall, try and keep the shoulders nicely back and down, but some pull in, keep going, the ribs together, tummy bottom back to the spine. Breathing deeply, try to slow down the movement so we can start to find a nice gliding, kind of almost like a nice rhythm to this. It almost becomes our meditation for the day. We can make this a much smaller movement. Even letting the arms go, so make it your own, but try to keep that external rotation of the hip. We're going to need that for a tree in a little bit. We'll use the tree as our standing balance a little later on. Last couple of rounds, nice opening of the hip. As you start to get a little bit tight, you may find you're sticking out the bottom. Try to maintain that neutral spine with a pelvic tilt. Make the next round your last, and then we'll shake out the hips. Fabulous. So a little can-can shake of the legs, knees, ankles. All right. So yesterday or the day before, we did series 1, Surya Namaskara Sun Salutations. We'll look at series 2, but only the first part of it. So when you're ready, coming to the front of your space, feet hip distance apart, squeeze on those glutes, tilt the pelvis, shoulders back and down. Stand the tallest you can be, mountain pose Tadasana. Have a go at rolling into the toes and back onto the heels. And we want to find where our center of gravity is, along the spine, right up into the head. Shoulders relaxed. Take a deep breath in, open the arms wide, look up, deep breath in, tallest you can be. Swan dive the arms down with an exhalation. Fingertips come to the floor, palms facing each other. Now come into that chair squat so you can still see your toes. Take the hips as low as you feel you can go. And if you can, lift the arms, otherwise hands on the hips. Pause, lengthen from the base of the spine up to the crown of the head. Close these front ribs, tummy button tucking in and up under the ribs. Long spine, long neck. Hands come into prayer. Press the thumbs into the chest, shoulders back and down. Now feel the imprint of the feet, particularly in the heels. Squeeze the glutes. Stand up, palms up to the ceiling. And as you breathe out, return to that squat with a little twist. Breathe in, standing tall. Squeeze the glutes. Breathe out into that twist the other side. So we'll stick with this a couple of times. Breathe in. I've fooled you with a couple, that means 2, doesn't it? Well, we're doing more than 2 rounds. So we'll stick with this so that we can breathe in and stretch up, and we breathe out to work the sides of the waist, rotation of the spine. Think about your wonderful, healthy, happy spine. So you take this squat as low as you feel you want to go, but try to then be aware of any jagged breathing, any jerky movements. And you can always back off and make a smaller movement, taking out anything that doesn't feel right. We'll make the next our last. Fingertips to the floor, straighten the legs, take a halfway lift, looking forwards. Soften the knees to lift the arms overhead, hands meet and return. Second, last set. Breathe in, open the arms, reach up. If you know back niggles, take a little back bend. Swan dive the arms down, fingertips to the floor, palms facing. Feet are hip distance apart, so as we bend the knees, we've got these fantastic parallel lines in the thighs, the shins. Now lift, feeling that pulling in the core, navel in, shoulders down. Now the other day we went over the strength in the arms that we use for plank down dog. Let's just have a reminder to distract you from your discomfort. So long spine, long neck, shoulders are back and down, and reaching into the fingertips. So as though the upper and lower arms are reaching away from the elbows. So it's that stabilization of the shoulders. So there's a small connection between the shoulder blades, but then we feel that smile across the chest. Hands come into prayer, heart center. Breathe in, stand tall. Breathe out, flow into your twist. Breathe in deeply, squeezing the glutes and flowing. So we're not staying long enough to hook the elbow on the outside of the knee. We're just feeling that pulling in the core. The rotation of the spine. For the last couple of rounds, see if you can really clamp the hands together so that we're strengthening the arms. Keep the neck nice and long. You're nearly there. Last couple. You'll enjoy taking a nice tree with me. Next set is your last, so you can afford to really go for detail, pressing the feet into the floor, square up the knees, the hips to the front, pressing the hands together, and then ready for the last time, last side. So everything from the hips down, square to the front is your ribs, shoulders, head, neck, all spiraling to one side. And then come up, float the arms down and have a little shrug. So for our tree pose, I think everyone knows your options, but we can take that external rotation of your right leg first of all and plant the ball of the right foot on the floor, below the knee or up into the groin. So find your position. External rotation of the hip is the main point here. We're working on ribs closed, core strong, side tilt in the pelvis. Hands can be on the hips initially, just while we find that center of gravity. Really typical here for the head start to drop rather than feel length. So now use, if you've got your foot on the inner thigh, have that as a sense of drawing the thigh bone down for you to lift away, the pelvis lifting almost out of that femur, the head of the femur. Shoulders back and down, foot pressing into the thigh. If you have your balance, let's take a wide V. Deep breath in, and as you breathe out, feel even longer. Keep the hip opening and keep feeling that you're lifting out of the pelvis. Pelvis lifting away from the legs. So we're finding length in the spine. Every now and then, if you feel you're wobbling, just make sure you're looking at something in front of you that's not moving. And just re-establish that, where is my center of gravity? Is my head, my shoulders dropping forwards? Keep the foot pressing into the inner leg, wherever you happen to be. Anyone who wants a little bit of a challenge, we can add a little bit of a twist. So breathe in to prepare, and we can swivel the upper body around, but take it nice and slowly, like you're looking across at the horizon. Because obviously we're losing our fixed point for the gaze. I have to focus and keep adjusting that point for the eyes. And we'll take a small swiveling movement either side. This is tough on the ankle of the standing leg. So if, fatigue is fine, but if you feel you need to just come out, shake the leg, that's fine. Otherwise, we're in our last couple of moments on this side, below the knee or on the floor. Arms wide or on the hips. Amazing. Drop the arms and lower the leg. Shake out that standing leg you've been working. After this, we're coming down to the mat, so it will feel like a break. Last little bit of work, your other leg, standing leg, lift the toes, plant the roots of your tree, and externally rotate the left hip. Keep that neutral spine. So, ball of the foot on the floor, and if this is really easy, have a go, even if it's only for a couple of seconds of lifting, but no heel, no pressure on the actual knee joint. No, we don't want it to hyperextend out to the side. So on the calf muscle or up into the groin. So find your position or play with upscaling to the next level if you feel ready. So hands can be on the hips. And then again, find your spot on the wall in front of you. Find that center of gravity, so the vertical line, and feel like that's a kind of power, a vertical column, like a magnet, and it's drawing everything into that center line. The ribs in, navel in, that takes out some of that excessive curve in the lower back. We're open across the chest, the head's back in line, arms can come to a wide V. Now, you may find it's a little bit different on one particular leg. You may find more strength, less strength. So just being kind and patient. Option to add on that twist. That's just an unnecessary step. And you have enough to think about. Just finding stillness in the body and in the mind. See if you can use the in-breath to lengthen up through the spine. And the out-breath just to find a little bit more pull in, everything drawing into that central magnet. Last couple of breaths, remembering to shake out, because there shouldn't be pain. Muscular effort is fine. And when you're ready, we can slowly lower the arms and release the legs. Shake out that actively aching standing leg. Give it a good shake out. We're going to come onto all fours. and just waking up the arm muscles. So when you're ready, find your mat, take a roll down through the spine, and we'll meet on all fours. Let's make sure the shoulders are over the wrists, knees and ankles hip distance apart. We'll take one cat-cat to ease you in. So when you're ready, toes uncurled, breathe in and look up, stick the bottom out. Breath out, chin to chest, press away from the floor, stretch the shoulder blades out wide and tilt the pelvis at the tailbones right under. Last time. Grip into the fingertips, underside knuckles, heels of the hand, open the chest, drawing the chest through the shoulders, and then the arching cat is your counter stretch. Lovely. Now you can take a full high plank, or with me, place the hands forwards. Check that the creases of the elbows are pointing forwards. So that means that crease at the top of the arms, at the elbows is forwards, so that when I bend, the elbows stay in line with the wrists and shoulders. Okay, so that may mean turning the hands out slightly. So do whatever you need to do in the position of the hands to keep the eye of the elbows pointing forwards. Tilt the pelvis under, draw your front ribs together, and we're taking micro bends. The feet relaxed at the back. Look ahead at the front of the mat, shoulders down, longest line from the tailbone to the crown of the head, and we take a small dip. Shoulders stay down. We're pulling the corset around the waist. Now press into 10 fingers, all underside knuckles, and back up to your straight ski slope line. So continue with a small or large bend in the elbows, but we're keeping that alignment, wrists, elbows, shoulders. So as the elbows bend, they're coming into the waist. At no point we let the belly flop. Keep the tummy bottom back to the spine. You should feel maybe even a little bit of shaking, all that work into the upper arms. We're keeping the same curves in the back. So it's shallow curves. We've got that neutral spine. Feel like you're knitting those front hip points together so your lower abdominals pull in. You're nearly there. Shoulders are relaxed and down, maybe not relaxed, but they're down. Last one or two, if you need to stop there, you're at your limit, push back to child pose. Amazing. When you're ready, sit back on the heels and relax your wrists by your ankles and just have a little sway. We can circle out the wrists here. And take a moment to draw your knees really close together and your ankles together. Let the upper body melt down and have a go at changing the sensations of our Balasana child pose by squeezing the knees together and squeezing the big toes together. This can just take some of the pressure off the sacrum, and you can feel the muscles either side of the spine just melt down a little bit either side of the legs. So we want to allow everything to melt down over the thighs. One last recovery breath, and then head last to come up, place the hands on the floor, roll up through the spine, and you're onto your backs. Start by hugging your knees into the chest. We're going to cycle, scissor, and crisscross. Something to look forward to. So the knees into the chest. Option to lift the head or leave it on the floor. Make sure your neck's happy. If you want to lift, cradle the hand and really create a hammock for the head. Now imprint the spine, press the tummy bottom back to the spine into the mat. Take a tabletop. Extend one leg and then return. We'll take it to the other leg and return. Now we can take the intensity off the core by bending, taking a greater bend in the knees. So the knee further into the chest. More of a challenge. Barrier, no more than hip distance in for those legs. More intensity, lower the leg, the straightening leg. Now, get into the flow. Try to avoid any momentum here. Continuous movement. Tummy bottom back to spine, close the ribs. shoulders down. Try to make sure there's no gripping of the teeth. So shoulders back and down, imprinting the shoulder blades right down to the lower back. We're creating train track lines with the legs as we extend and draw in. We're perfectly keeping that line, ankle, knee, hip. Last couple of rounds. So see if you can get more imprint of the lower spine into the mat. Just the intention can really add intensity to the core strengthening. Last set each side, and then we'll take this movement into a hamstring stretch and we'll scissor the legs. Let's hug the knees into the chest just as a little rest and to re-imprint the spine. Then we're stretching the legs up to the ceiling. Curl the toes down to the face so the feet are flexed. And now, hold behind one thigh, point the toes, and drop one leg towards the floor. We pull in, then switch. Gently pull in, and switch. Now, this is another one where we'll leave the head on the floor if this is uncomfortable for the neck. See if you can wind in the breath into this. So breathe in as the legs switch. Breathe out. To get that extension down the back of the leg. So if we're going to curl up, we can still have the chin into the chest. The jaw is parted, so there's no clenching, no discomfort there. Hands nurture, you can give your legs a good squeeze at the back, just helping it along. Find length. Last few rounds. When we take the crisscross, we'll take the legs at more of a 45-degree angle. And don't worry if the knees are bent. So while you take your last couple of scissor stretches, let me demonstrate. Shoulders are down, we'll lower the legs and we're crisscrossing the legs, one on top of the other, alternating. Legs can be overhead, more intensity legs lower, but please avoid going too low. I don't want any arching in that back. No gap here, keep everything in, pulled in tight. Again, your head can be on the floor if this is creating unnecessary tension in the neck. And join me with a crisscross, shoulders down. Remember, the knees can be a little bit bent. You'll feel if you place your hands on the inner thighs are working really well. Last push of effort. Try to smile, keep that breath going as smoothly as you can. You can really go for it. For the last count of 10, then we'll be taking a full body stretch and it will all be worth it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug the knees into the chest or take a big star stretch, whichever you feel drawn to do. You can catch the opposite wrist. Stretch through across the body. Deep breath in, really flare the ribs here and stretch out those abdominal muscles. And then we're taking a curl up, just come up to sitting, forearms, take our glute stretch. So place the ankle on the opposite thigh, flex the foot, knee out wide, and let's sway. Side to side, so we're relieving the external rotators of that lifted leg. Working into the glutes. That little twist is lovely for the spine when you've been working the abdominal muscles. And you'll know you're done here. This is just your nice little bit of easing out, recovery breath. Allow the breathing to settle back down to normal rhythm. And let's switch legs. You've done really well. It's a little bit vigorous today, but you're still here. If this is a little bit intense, sitting upright, you can lie down. More intensity, we can lift up. Last couple of sways. We're just going to end with a nice gentle forward fold to stretch out the backs of the legs. Extend the legs out in front of you, feet hip distance apart. Lift the arms overhead and stretch. As you breathe out, reach beyond your toes and let the hands take hold of whichever part of your legs they find. And let's take a gentle sway side to side. You can round the back here. You can bend the knees. Just take a nice easy sway. Still just allowing the breath time to reset to nice gentle rhythm. So while you're there, I'm going to curl up through the spine and unmute you so you can heckle away.